Hey folks, welcome to my winning circle. I'll try to make this video as short as possible and as educational as possible from my point of view. What I'm asking of you is to step away from your own logic or way of thinking about lottery for a second and doubt yourself and ask yourself, what if I'm right? Okay? That's all. If you do that, regardless to whatever the outcome will be, whether or not you still end up sticking with your own um, way of playing lottery or or increasing your odds, it's up to you. Okay, I respect that. But if something that I'll say changes your mind, and you'll see that this is the ultimate way of actually predicting numbers, and picking 12 patterns is all you need in order to win the lottery, mm, plus 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 picking the right numbers from the order, then you understand that those odds of winning lottery here are significantly higher than any odds you can produce. Okay, let's start off with explaining this sheet a tiny bit. It was based on It was built for Pick 3 in Illinois. I live in Illinois. It's called Pick 3. Initially, I play Pick 3 quite often, ever drawing, and 14 times a week for $27. There's a way I played, and I ended up winning two, three, 4 times a week sometimes. But it was time consuming, and it was a lot of work to um, fill out those slips. And eventually I figured, you know what? Even if I was winning pick 3 every day, every drawing, I would never make the money if I won one time Mega Millions or Powerball. So I switched it. Okay? What is this? The structure of the spreadsheet is simple. I have a tab here where I input Powerball numbers and Mega Ball numbers, and then there are a couple of sections, key sections in here, and those are the ones, and they allow me. I can show you the logic. There's a reference error here because I deleted some stuff, but what it pretty much does, it allows me to filter through the numbers. Okay, it pulls from appropriate based on from appropriate section based on specific input in this. So P stands for Powerball. If I do Powerball, then that's what it looks. The patterns look like this. If I hit and change that P to M, then it's gonna put all these Mega Ball numbers, Mega Million numbers into these sections, and these R1, B1, R2, B2 will actually pull all these numbers and analyze them as well. Okay, so that's the main sheet. That's the kind of foundation of this whole thing. Two is this Mega Ball, Powerball section. This one actually allows you to view how from drawing to drawing the numbers have been changing, and uh, as you see, 104 drawings ago, 35 was drawn. So we're expecting over the next month 35 to be drawn again. The farthest it ever went to, I believe, was like 113. We're already at 104. We should expect 35 to come out soon. Okay. 14 for Powerball hasn't been drawn for 68 drawings. That's insane. Okay. And so on and so on. So these are the positions. The green positions are where today's numbers came from. Uh, 13 came from here, and this is the grid before the next Wednesday drawing for Powerball. Makes sense? Then there's a couple of things here. Also, if you scroll to the left, I have a really nice section hidden here. That section actually allows you to analyze the the uh, the hottest positions of fields. So, for example, from column number 2 over the past 55 drawings, 6 times a number was drawn from this position, 6 times from this position, and you see those zeros which are inactive. You don't. You see the ones which are very rare, and then you got those few. Look at that. Uh, Position number 10 in column 1 8 times. That's huge, right? So these are the craziest um, fields from which the numbers often get drawn, and it's obviously changing as it goes from uh, drawing to drawing, but um, the change is insignificant. Okay, and then you have the patterns themselves, the sections. So you have 10 sections from 2 to 11. How's that work? There is a sequence number, there's a rotation number, okay, and a value generated off of algorithm I wrote. Okay, each section has up to 400 drawings. Powerball was changed about 255 drawings ago or so. So I have quite a lot of data, but it's far from 400, right? I'm still 165 drawings away from 100. Okay, so so if you analyze these patterns, you can clearly see that there's symmetry happening from time to time. The green one analyzes the movement of the pattern above, the symmetry that's happening, and the figures that show up on certain bases uh, made me believe that the algorithm they wrote for picking these numbers is nothing more than a bunch of loops that go around and around and around. I mean, what is the possibility of seeing this? Let me zoom in for you guys. How possible it is for this to be as symmetrical as it was over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 drawn. This whole figure highlighted here was, if you cut it in half and fold it, it'll overlap. Both sides are gonna overlap 100%, right? This must have been done by a loop. Even though we see different numbers that produced it, the algorithm can determine or can analyze the loop in one way and gives us feedback. Sometimes, though, the symmetry breaks, like in this case. I have no idea why it's so. I never tried to analyze it. Okay, sometimes something like this happen where you would expect symmetry, but then this shows up. Never thought about deep enough to see what causes it. Okay, let me scale it all back. So every single one of these sections or subsections, right, they have their own, they have the same algorithm, but it's computed based on sequence rotation and pattern rotation. So as you see, it goes from 2 2, 2 3, 2 4, 2 5, 2 6, and then it goes 3, and then it goes 4, and then it goes 5, 6, 7, all the way down to, I think I built it all the way down to 20 something, because after that it becomes uh, insignificant. Okay, All right. So the algorithm, what does it do? There is a matrix and also uh, properties of numbers that I identified. Um, I'm a number guy, by the way. I identified for every single numbers that they share, and I wrote algorithm that actually uh, finds a property, analyzes every number to infinity, and by that property assigns a value based on pattern rotation number. Okay, I know it sounds complicated. That's pretty much what it does. And then I wrote second algorithm, and that's the B1, and I made it do the same thing, but it's a different one. Okay, and it also produces symmetrical figures. I mean, for Christ's sake, take a look at that, folks. Okay, and then one ends and another starts, and you can argue that it could be considered to be that big, right? And please look at this. It's incredible. Okay, is it just computed by chance? I doubt that. Nobody's going to be nobody's going to convince me and tell me that any of this stuff is by chance. It's really cool to see. It's really cool to see how the data from uh, uh, from the market, New York Stock Exchange, plays out in this algorithm, in this whole tool. It goes through and nicely analyzes it, and don't get me wrong, folks, but if I was going to um, argue with anyone, there's no chance that what's happening with stock market is all done by um, it's by chance, or I mean, it looks like it's fully controlled by somebody rather than anything else. But that's another conspiracy theory that I could come up with, and I don't want to be I don't want to be one of those people just making conspiracy theories, right? So these two algorithms, there's two more that I wrote. You don't see it, okay? Those algorithms are a little complicated, but I had to reverse engineer them, because what I would do in the initial stage of this tool, I would compute the results of these patterns to to derive the numbers by hand, and it was ridiculously time consuming. So what I did is I created this tool, and what it does is it it takes the patterns in specific format, analyzes them, breaks them down, as you see in this section above, right here. Breaks these patterns down, and you have this one in number 5, blue 1, sequence 11, uh, pattern rotation 4, value number 2, right? And it inputs it for number 5. If you look at 5, 11, 4, 2, okay? Eventually, and these are the numbers that came out today for Powerball. We hit 65. We'll analyze how many patterns I hit over today's drawing. Okay. Eventually, I was in need of setting parameters, so I built in not too long ago at the uh, in the middle of January. I built these two parameters. Okay, they allow me to switch how the patterns are generated, right? Also, I was in need of having fields that would allow me override certain values. If I if I had a ton of numbers, I could just input another pattern in specific window, here or here or specific fields, and it would override or add on to whatever the decode from this section is here. So for example, you see number 6, I picked this one and this one. If I wanted to change 3 to something else, all I have to do is put it here. So if I put 5 here, it automatically overrides the 3 to 5. So I can make corrections on the fly. Okay, I really wanted to eliminate any type of limits that I had um, related to making adjustments or picking numbers. Okay, if I wanted to add another pattern, let's say 10, 4, 2, look at it, look how pretty it just came out to be here. Okay, and it takes an effect in there. Okay, so this was the foundation. Every single one of these grids is it's the same thing linked to appropriate number here above. Okay, what they have is multiple sections. Okay, so well I'll show you with the number. So a bottom most important thing, here are the patterns broken down that I picked today, and the algorithm derived all the numbers in appropriate field. Then, and it was R1. Then I picked from blue 2, and the algorithm derived all the numbers, right? Then I wrote a formula that checks how many overlaps there are, and above that you have the grid showing you those overlaps only, and it gets rid of the noise, so-called noise. I call it noise, or numbers that make no sense. Okay, that doesn't mean that these numbers are always correct. They're only correct if you pick the 2 patterns correctly. Okay, and we know I didn't hit number 1, but let's see if I hit anything. That is, the first number was number 10, right? So here's 0, here's 10, here's 20, here's 0, here's 10. So as you see, I hit one pattern here for number 1. Second number was 17. I had 14, which is here, 15, 16, 17. I did not hit a single pattern for number 2. The third number was 18, right? So we have 25 here, so 15, 16, 17, 18. I didn't hit a single pattern for number 3 as well. Let us see what else we got. If you take a look at number 4, for number 4 I have, it was number 43. So we didn't have 43. We had 44, and 44 is here, 43 is here, so we didn't hit a single pattern for number 4 as well. And if you take a look at number 5, number 5 was 65. So we hit 65 directly. As you see, 2 patterns overlapped, and it gave me 65 and 67 for choices. And for the Powerball, we had 14, but actually 13 came out, and none of the patterns we picked actually was a good pattern. Okay, so let's take a look. I picked for number 6, 330 on R1 and 530 on B1. So R1, number 6, it was 330. Take a look, guys. 332 came out. See it? We were shooting for 0. Okay, and 530 for the blue one, I think. So blue one, 5-4, 5-3. We were shooting for 0, but it also came out 2. See it? So we were wrong on both of them. No big deal. There's always another drawing coming up. So, and that's how quickly I can actually analyze where I made a mistake. I gotta tell you though, we have a little uh, tool coming up that we're working on. It'll be able to show you the patterns from which you picked and what came out versus what your picks were. It's going to be implemented on the website soon, so I encourage you guys to go in and play. So basically, what the tool does, it's taking two formulas that analyze numbers. R1 and should I say red one is the first one, blue one is the second one. And what it does is it by crossing these two algorithms, I get overlaps on numbers. For as long as you predict the pattern correctly, you will get one of your numbers. Like in case of number 5 today, we got 65, 65 came out. All you gotta do is predict that two patterns minimum. Okay, and it doesn't matter if you picked red and red or blue and blue. R2 and B2 is nothing more than R1 and B1, but looked at from a different corner, so to speak. So, okay, and you can mix them up. As you see, I'm mixing them up. R1, B1, B1, R2, R1, R2, and so on and so on. Maybe I should analyze all of them before I make a final decision. But so as you see, it's nothing. This whole thing here, it's I don't know. Maybe some people are gonna call it a scam. It's nothing more than mathematical equation put in to do some heavy work based on your easy picks. Why are we making it available to the public if we believe it's so important? I'll tell you why. And eventually, the website is going to contain um, paid subscription. It's not going to be a lot. It's going to be like 99 cents to decode your numbers for one drawing or something like that. But that's the goal. I've had people hit 4 numbers using this last year. Okay, I've had people who completely don't know anything about lottery go ahead and try to predict, and they were hitting numbers and winning $10 on top of what they spent, $15 on top of what they spent. If you can do that consistently over a period of a month, which has about 8 to 9 drawings, you always come up with a little bit of extra money. Okay, so you might spend $50 for all your tickets, but hey, you'll win this extra 10, 15, or $20 from time to time, and you'll have it in your pocket. Okay, there's a ton of rules that I can go to explain to you how the website is gonna work eventually, including that there's going to be agreements between us and players, and the winnings are going to be split. The big winnings are going to be split. Not only a big chunk is going to go to the winner, but also 10% will be split by the other 99 players that are going to be playing at that particular game at the same time during the same month, and so on. That players are going to be drawn. The whole thing will be reset every month, so new players are going to be drawn once we get enough people to play, and so on. It's all going to be for fun, but it's all going to be there set in such way that it's going to be extremely affordable to everyone, but allow us to continue doing what we're doing if we get enough support. Okay, for now, all we care about, guys, is collecting data. Please go and sign up. please go and try. It's not gonna cost you anything. Even you don't even have to go and buy your tickets. We don't have the resources to buy all the tickets that people submit constantly to us. Okay, uh, it'll be a little time consuming to respond to all of you, but hell, I'll be more than happy to do so as I'm doing with other people. Right? Ask questions. If you wanted me to talk a little bit more about a certain aspect of this whole thing, why don't you just post it under the video and I'll be more than happy to um, respond to it if I can. Okay? For now, I'm signing out. This is Suavo, my winning circle. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Good night.